Good morning, class 12 students. This is the last part of the chapter, the third level. Since we have finished the chapter, so in today's session, we will be discussing the question answer, textual ones. And before, I would like you to go through the summary of the chapter. So, first, we will revise the summary of the chapter, the third level, and then we will discuss the question answer. So, I think it's time for us to begin. uh, I have divided the summaries in in few in a few headings so that it will be better for you to understand. So in the beginning of the chapter, we see that Charlie is talking about the third level at New York Grand Central Station, right? So that's how our story begins. Charlie says that there is a third level at the Grand Central Station of New York, but because we are aware, because we have read the chapter, we know that actually there is no third level. This is all about Charlie's imagination and his hallucination and escapism, right? So he believes that there is a third level, and that is why he discusses about the third level with his friend, uh, who happens to be known as Sam. So Charlie conveys about the third level to his psychiatrist friend Sam, and Sam says that it is actually a waking dream fulfillment. Because Charlie is, he is very unhappy with his life, his monotonous life, and in fact, this is not. This is common with everyone in the whole world. Everybody is suffering from insecurity. We have fear, we have grief, we have lots of tensions, and yes, the aftermath of war, which is also highlighted in the chapter, we cannot forget about it, right? So everyone wants to escape from these harsh realities of the world, and that is why Charlie is also looking for ways to escape these realities, and that is why he's hallucinating. And we also see that he's into the stamp collection habit. He uses this habit to escape from reality for some time. And if we talk about Grand Central Station is a very huge station. It has so many tunnels, so it is not unnatural for someone to bump into new corridors, right? And but if we talk about Charlie was supposed to get on the train from the second level, but in the second level he came across a doorway, a corridor, and that led him to the third level station, right? And in the in yes in this Grand Central Station, there are so many tunnels that can actually lead you to some place quite or far away from the Grand Central Station. Because when you will read the chapter, I did mention about that. One of the tunnels, it leads to hallway. One of the tunnels leads to the hallway of a hotel. Understand? So that is all about Grand Central Station. It is very huge. It has so many tunnels. Some are undiscovered, some are discovered. But reaching to the third level in 18th 19th century, it is just an imagination and Charlie's hallucination, right? So what happens when Charlie reaches the third level station? So because it was all in his mind. That is how he has described the third level station. He when he reaches in the year 1894, he explains that how people they were dressed in a very old fashion, right? And the money was also very different. There were old currencies, because Charlie wanted to buy tickets. He wanted to buy two tickets to Galesburg, Illinois. And you're also aware why does he want to go back to Galesburg, Illinois of 1894? Because it's a very peaceful place. War is quite far away. Huge houses built in old architecture, lawns, long trees, people, they would sit together, talk together, and they would smoke cigars and all. So that is what Charlie is craving for. Charlie wants to escape the monotonous, troublesome life of city. Understand? So but Charlie, he because that's how he has described this place, a beautiful place with huge green and old houses. But Charlie, he because he did not have the old currency, so he could not buy the ticket that time, so he left the place. And then what happened? Charlie thought about the third level all the time when he returned from there, and he wanted to take his wife to Galesburg. So he exchanged, in current time, he exchanged some of his money, in order to get this old currency in exchange. Because, you can always have old currency. You can go to the concern stores, even in India, if you want to have old currencies, there are certain shops where you can find the old currencies in exchange of the new one, but you have to pay the extra price, right? And but after that, Charlie could not find the door to the third level, the corridor to the third level of Grand Central Station. So in the last section of the chapter, we come across this, that Charlie receives a letter from Sam. Right, in the last section of the chapter, Charlie receives a letter from Sam when he was going through his stamp collection, and this is where he found an envelope that he had never seen before, and it referred to to his grandfather in Galesburg. And the letter was, the envelope was supposed to be, the paper inside the envelope, it was supposed to be empty, but there was a letter. The letter was written by Sam, and he wrote that he had found the third level, and he is now in Galesburg. But he said that he refused to believe Charlie, and he because in the beginning part of the chapter, Charlie Sam did not believe in Charlie's finding of the third level of Grand Central Station. But here in this letter, Sam confirms, and he accepts that it is true, and he is very happy there. And he also asks Charlie to keep looking for the third level, and also ask him to bring his wife. And he signed off his letter, Sam, the psychiatrist. So that's all, because this chapter, the ending of the chapter is very mysterious. Understand, because the chapter ends in a very mysterious note. We have already discussed the two mysteries in the last, in the third part of the chapter, the third level. So you can go back, you can rewind, and you can check. And now it's time for us to discuss the textual question answers of the third level. See, the question is here and the answer is written, so I will be just explaining you. And I believe, because having explained each and everything, I believe it will be very easy for you to understand the meaning of the question and to come up with a very good and simple answer. What does the third level refer to? In the chapter, the third level, it refers to a subway or level of the Grand Central Station, which takes passengers to Galesburg, Illinois, in 18th, 19th centuries, right? So the third level on the station, it was actually a medium of escape for Charlie, because it does not exist in reality. It was just narrators. It was Charlie's hallucination, his imagination. It was figment of his imagination, because he wants to escape the harsh realities of modern life. So it provided him a base where he could interweave fantasy and reality. So it is very common with us also, because when something is troubling us, we actually look for means to escape or to distract. So that's what Charlie is doing. It's very common with human beings. Would Charlie ever go back to the ticket counter on the third level to buy tickets to Galesburg for himself and his wife? See, no, Charlie would never go back to the ticket counter on the third level to buy to Galesburg for himself and his wife, because the third level was his imagination. See, this can be very confusing, because when you read the chapter, in the chapter you read that Charlie actually exchanged his new currency for the old one, but he could not find the doorway to third level of Grand Central Station. And again, this could also be a part of Charlie's imagination, that he exchanged his currency and he was looking for the third level, right? So you are free to write answer in your own words and as per your own understanding. So now let's have a look at reading with insight. Do you think that the third level was a medium of escape for Charlie, and why? Well, of course, it is an escape, a medium of escape for Charlie, because, yes, I think that the third level was a medium of escape for Charlie. Yes, we also think that is an escape, because, modern life, it is full of insecurity. Let's just, take an example of your life. What is going on around us today. This COVID happened, and you could actually see, and hear every day. You get to hear that lots of people are dying. It's a very terrible situation around you, and that is why, we human being, we actually look for a place, or a corner where we could actually find peace. So this is what is going on with Charlie. Charlie also wants to escape the harsh realities, because it is unbearable for him, and so he wants to escape into a visual world. And yes, this has provided him, Charlie, a temporary respite, a short a, not for long, but a short period of relax. Understand? So we can say yes. What do you infer from Sam's letter to Charlie? See, again, it's up to you how you perceive it. You can write it. Because as per this answer, the way Charlie came across Sam's letter was surrounded in mystery. Yes, we do. I agree with it. Among his oldest first day covers, he found an envelope. The envelope containing a letter, and it bore the address of his grandfather. It was written on July 1894. The postmark showed the picture of President Garfield. Generally, the first day covers have blank papers in them, but the one contained a letter. The letter was addressed to Charlie. In the letter, Sam had informed Charlie that he was living on the third level. He had also told Charlie that his wife to keep looking for the third level. Clearly, the letter was a product of Charlie's imagination. So, in this answer, he clarifies that it is actually Charlie's his own imagination, because first day cover, because Charlie's grandfather, he was also fond of collecting stamps, and he also bought a lot of first day cover. So Charlie, just to to prove his imagination correct, he used his grandfather's letter, and he opened it, because it had the stamp, it had the postmark of of days of the date that had already gone. So he used that blank envelope, and he wrote that letter himself. So yes, this was a part of a product of Charlie's imagination. The modern world is Next question is, the modern world is full of insecurity, fear, war, stress. What are the ways in which we attempt to overcome them? Just the question, I think the second or third question we discussed just now. Yes, if you will take your example, you know we do come across ups and downs in our lives. We come across a situation where we find that we are hopeless, we are helpless, and it is unbearable. So what you need is a medium of escape. So that is why the modern world is full of insecurity, and there are various ways we can hold on to, and in order to escape the harsh realities. People have multiple way, but in this chapter we saw one of the ways, that is philately stem collecting habit. Some people watch movies, some sing, and some go out, and there are so many ways which you can use in order to put an end to your sufferings and unnecessary problems. Understand? Let's read this answer first. We can overcome the anxieties and insecurities bred by our inevitable existence in the modern world by getting involved in some practical and beneficial activities. So in the first three lines, it is said that no matter what anxiety, what your insecurities are, you can still be able to put an end to them. You can still overcome them. You just need to cultivate hobbies like spending time with your family, friends, going on trips, excursions, pursuing meditations. Yes, yoga is very helpful. It is proven. And you can also exercise, you can go to gym, and you can have a live a balanced and healthy life, right? You can also read books. There are so many good stories, motivating and inspiring. So these are so many ways that you can do in order to get away from sufferings, problems, and anxieties. Let's read the next question. Do you see an intersection of time and space in the story? Yes. And I did mention in the chapter when I was explaining it that we see the intersection of time, because when Charlie was in the third level and the current time was in the Grand Center Station, the two level, right? So yes, there are certain instances in the story that shows an intersection. Let's find out. Intersection of time and space. First, two levels of Grand Center Station were located in the present time. Yes, the New York Grand Central Station has two levels. They are located in the present time, while the third level, it does not exist in the current time or the present time. It only exists in 1890s, 19th century and 18th centuries, right? Secondly, Charlie and his wife, yes, Louisa, live in the present time, yet Charlie rushes to get old currency to buy tickets to go to Galesburg of 1894. And yes, there are more examples. Further, old architecture of the platform at the third level different from the modern platforms of the first two levels, beside the archaic manner of dressing by the people and the newspaper, right? So that's all you have to highlight. That's how we get to know that there is actually this an intersection of time and space, because two levels, they are in present, and the third level, it is in past. Charlie's wife is in present time and Charlie is in third level. So that is what you have to remember. Apparent illogicality sometimes turn to be a futuristic projections. Discuss. Uh, whatever whatever he imagines, it seems illogical, but actually it turns out to be a futuristic projection. It actually tells us about the future, because it is true that it is true that apparent illogicality sometimes turn out to be a futuristic projections. Before the Wright brothers invented the first aeroplane, nobody could have dared to believe that man could fly. You're aware of it. And before Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone, it would have been impossible to believe in long distance talks happening in the real time interface. Moreover, there are examples of inventions like inventing a modern day sewing machine with a needle that has hole on its wrong end, and which were conceived in dreams but now are part of our everyday reality. You know, you can write this answer on your own, and as per your own perception and your own understanding. You don't have to follow whatever is written here, because you have your own understanding, you have your own perception. So you can actually, questions like this, they are very, their answers are very versatile, because you can write them in your own way, so you don't have to worry about it, right? And philately helps keep the past alive. Yes, you collect stems, envelopes, and all, which has some connection to history and all. That's how you can keep history and everything alive, because in this chapter we came to know about President Cleveland and President Garfield, right? So that is all possible because of Charlie's stamp collecting habits and documentaries and all. So again, it is up to you how you want to answer this question. Okay, you have read Adventure by Jayant Narlikar in Hornbill Class 11. Actually, I believe you haven't read, because in last year this chapter was excluded from your course, so we won't be discussing this, right? So that's all we have in this, that's all we have for textual questions. And in case if you want to read this chapter Adventure, it is there in your book. You can read out, and you can approach me and we can discuss it later, right? So what you all have to do in today's section, you will be given value based questions as your homeworks, which you are supposed to do in your fair notebook, because uh, value based questions are very important. You cannot neglect, you cannot ignore them, you also need to go through them, right? So I believe the affiliately helps keep the past alive. This can also be considered as value based questions, so you must go through it and you should be able to answer it. And please make sure that you complete each and every homework, and I don't want you to skip or shrink from your responsibilities. Whenever you receive homework, please download it and complete it. I want each and every one of you to complete your homework positively and carefully. So that's all we have in this chapter. It's time for me to wind up this session, and please remember the third level written by Jack Finney. It is a wonderful chapter. It it gives you a ways to how to tackle your problems, and problems, your worries and anxieties, and also it teaches us a lot of things. So thank you everyone. See you in the next class.